Mark here, folks. Y'all know how to do cook the books and bring the information. So this video right here, I really, really quick, I want to talk about, like I said, if you watch my previous videos, um, uh, this whole putting videos up and me sharing, the information, cooking the books and sharing the information is therapeutic for me because it's a way for me to vent. It's a way for me to uh to navigate some of my difficulties, right, and share the experience. So this scripture reading I want to talk to you guys about I want to take the scripture reading from Job chapter 13 verse 15, and it says, though Job is saying this, if anybody know about the book of Job, just a quick backdrop. If you don't know about the book of Job is a servant of God, is a man who has been blessed with multiple, in other words, he's the Bill Gates of his day, right? He was wealthy, he had it all, and everything was taken from him, right, as a test between the devil and God. The devil made there's a wager going on. Look, remove the hedges from around Job, take away all that he has, and watch him curse you. So there's a gambling going on here, right? There's some kind of gambling, which is his own video. But so Job is going through a series of afflictions, and just a series of trials and tests and tribulations and hurts and pains and disappointments and loss and this and that. His whole world just falls apart, pretty much, in short. And so in this particular passage right here in chapter 13, verse 15, Job makes a declaration, and he professes, though he slays me, yet still will I trust him. Now we're talking about a man who has, we're going to use today's contemporary language, we're going to bring it to the 21st century, a man who has billions and billions of dollars, right? Back then it was goats and sheep and herd and land, and today he would be the Bill Gates, like I said, the Warren Buffetts, the Carl Icahns, right, the George Soros, the Koch brothers, right, the $1 billion guy. He's that guy. He's the tech guy. He's the Mark Zuckerberg. He's the guy. He has it all, and everything is taken from him. And the bet is that he's going to curse God. So here we go. It's family, wife, kids, everything being ripped away. And Job makes this declaration, and he says, this is powerful. He says, though he slays me, though he, the pronoun there is referring to God. So he's saying, though he, God, slays me, he's slaying me, yet still will I trust him. Now, there's so much that, let's unpack this. Let's unwrap this and unpack it a little bit, because there's so much in here. Though he slays me. Let's stop right there. Though he slays me. Job is saying that God is the one that's doing the slaying here. Because remember, he says, though he slay me, yet still will I trust him. So Job is confessing that he's been slayed, and he's telling you who his slayer is. In the context, he's telling you God is the person responsible for all that he's being slayed with. Because he says it, though he slays me, yet still will I trust him. Powerful stuff. Let's continue in Job. In Job chapter 2, I believe it is. Let me take a look. Hold on one second. Yeah, I believe it's Job chapter 2. Yeah, this is where he says, his wife is telling him, why don't you just curse God and die? And he says, you speak as a foolish woman. Shall we expect good from God and not evil as well? I'm paraphrasing. His words is, again, you speak as a foolish woman. Shall we, humanity, shall we expect good from God only and not trouble? Depending on, King James version, or what version or rendition of the scriptures you're reading. If you're reading a more modern translation, it would say something like, shall we expect pleasure, luxury from God only, and not evil, and not bad, and not trouble, not afflictions? Shall we just expect good things from God and not bad things? These are other translations in more English version, right? More contemporary version. And it's amazing, right? You think about it. Shall we expect good from God only and not also trouble? Shall we expect good from God only and not evil? Right? This is Job in the midst of agony. This is what the folks. This is what's called your faith in the crucible, right? A oven that is extremely hot, a hot battle in the lion's mouth. You're in the grips and the claws of the destroyer, and yet still, this is the kind of faith you have. We expect good from God alone and not evil. Shall we expect only pleasure, only, up days and, colorful, sunny, rosary mornings, and not storms and clouds and all, darkness as well? You got to think about that. All right. So the last passage of Job I want to talk about is where he says, God gives and God takes. Blessed be his name forever. Again, context. This is a man that is losing everything. Forget about the 2008 collapse that we saw in the stock market. Forget about the 1920 29, the Great Depression period. Forget about the housing bubble that we saw in 2007 and 8 and 9, and the collapse of the Bear Stearns and all. Forget about the Bernie Madoff and people losing their retirement accounts. And so this is a man who is in one fell swoop, not over a series of years and years and yet in one fell swoop, everything is being rooted out and ripped out and routed out from beneath his feet. And he says, God gives, God takes, blessed be his name forever. Shall we expect only good things from God and not also bad? Right? Though God is slaying me, I still will trust him. All right. Now we're just gonna talk. I just want to talk to y'all. Let's just talk. Now we're just gonna kick it. Let's just rap. Folks, here's the reality of things, right? The way now we're talking 21st century, right? Whatever your challenges are, either they're coming, you're in them, or either you're coming out of them, you're going in them, or whatever the case may be. Here's what we gotta seed this in. Seed this in. I just gave you some scripture. Now I'm gonna give you something else. If you want to know how to beat the devil, because you got to remember, in the book of, I believe it's Ephesians, where Paul says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. What that means, this is not a physical fight. Then I believe it's in Corinthians where it says the weapons. The weapons. Now Paul set you up and say, hey, to the Ephesians, the church of Ephesia, the church of the Ephesians, hey, look, y'all ain't fighting against knuckles and bones and flesh and blood, and this ain't a physical fight. It might appear to be, but it ain't a physical fight. So he warns you that it ain't a physical fight. And then in Corinthians comes back and say, hey, the weapons of this fight, this warfare, it ain't carnal. Carnal means anything pertaining to the mundane, to the secular realm. Anything pertaining to this three-dimensional existence, or the three-dimensional plane in which we exist. It ain't physical. The weapons of your warfare, it ain't physical. It ain't carnal. It ain't physical. The weapons of our warfare isn't carnal, but here's what they are. They're mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, right? Taking every thought captive and bringing it to the obedience of Christ. And what this means, mighty through God, the weapons of your warfare, they're not anything that has to do with this physical realm. That means the weapons are of the astral. That, if you're studying the metaphysics, they would call it the astral plane, the astral realm, or the ethereal realm. Your weapons are that of a spiritual nature, a non-physical substance. If it's a non-physical substance, that means the weapons are outside of the science of matter. Matter pertains to all physical substance. The weapons are beyond matter. It is therefore meta. Meta means beyond. Metaphysical, beyond the physical. Metaphysics, beyond the physics. So where and what are these weapons? Okay. Go back to Ephesians. It says, put on the whole armor. And then he says, take the sword, which is your faith. Take the sword. No, the sword is the word. The word. So the weapons, if the weapon is the sword, and the sword is the word, then your weapons are words. And here is, I'm gonna bring it home now, wrap it up. We done I done took you guys down the road to where we found out the weapons are words. All right, now let me tell you the words. These are the words you gotta. These are the specific words you gotta chant if you want to tear down Satan's kingdom. You want to tear down the dark forces. You want to tear down the kingdom of darkness and let your light so shine in a dark, crooked, and perverse world. You ready? I thank you, God, for every trial. Folks, you have to be showing gratitude for your car breaking down. You have to start thanking God for losing your job. You have to thank God that your wife adulterated, cheated, and left you. You have to thank God that the courts are giving you hell for you to get your right to see your kid, and custody battles are going raging, and you're pain and you're hurting because you want to see your child, but the courts are giving the woman the favor. You got to thank God that you got to thank God that your finances are being touched by the enemy. The locust is eating up your finances. You got to thank God that you're bankrupt. Your business is ethereal, meaning it's emaciated, meaning it's skinny, it's thin, it's lean. You got to thank God that you look at your bank account and you're like, damn, I'm broke. You got to thank God. This is called counterintuitive, right? Because intuitively, intuition, your gut feeling wants to cry, wants to break down, wants to curse, wants to scream, wants to yell, wants to shout, might want to grab a gun and go shoot, might want to shoot your damn self, might want to go nuts, but you got to do what's counterintuitive, right? You got to do contrary to how you're feeling. You have to speak. See, your gut and intuitive nature is hurting, pain, rattled, shaking, but you got to say what? Words, because the words, right, are the weapons of your warfare. The weapons of your warfare, they're not carnal, they're non-physical, they're spiritual, they're the words. So the words, you got to be able to thank God when your entire world is falling apart. You want Satan to run, you want to make the enemy afraid of you, start thanking God when everything is going wrong. Not easy, is it? Very difficult to even wrap your mind around that. What? What are you talking about? Like, I just lost my job. I'm thanking God for losing my job. Why not? You thank God if you gain the job, provided you're a person of faith, obviously. We're not talking to somebody who's not a person of faith, an atheist or a non believer, an agnostic person. Somebody who's of faith, you thank God when you got the job, right? You see what I'm saying? Go back to Job. God give, God take, blessed be his name forever. That's why I brought those scriptures up, because again, these scriptures are counterintuitive. They're contrary to what is natural and normal. So we got to thank God when everything in our lives are turned upside down. When the wheels of your car have literally fallen off, you got to thank God. You got to thank God when there's no food in your fridge. You got to thank God. You got to be thankful for God that, God, I want to thank you. The same way you sit down and say grace, God, I thank you for this food to eat. You guys say, God, I want to thank you for not having any food to eat. It sounds retarded, right? But did Job sound rational? Think about it. Though he slays me, yet still will I trust him. Do you know what that slaying entailed? This man lost his home, his wife, his kids, his cattle, and sheep. He lost everything. And he turns around and say, though you are killing me, though you are beating me, though you're taking, again, though you just took my job from me, though you just took my kids from me, the wife just left me, though I'm still going to trust you. Doesn't sound rational, does it? Doesn't sound logical, doesn't sound reasonable, right? Doesn't sound any kind of sensible sense, anything, right? Sounds completely like this guy's going berserk. This guy Job is nuts. He's mad. He's crazy. He's losing his off his rockets. But folks, that's what you got to be in this world for God. You got to be called crazy. You got to be off your rockets. You can't be rational and reasonable with the devil. You think that nigga gonna be rational? Oh, pardon me, I just dropped the N word, but that's the passion. You think he gonna be rational and reasonable and logical with you? You think he's gonna employ Socratic methods and inductive reasoning and deductive reasons and logical conclusions? So again, if you really want, and here's the thing, if you really want to enact power, it release and unleash your inner power, your godlike nature. Psalms 82 says, "Ye are gods," right? Doesn't mean you're the literal God. Let's not, we're not going to go into that. No man is God, but we do have characteristics. We do have the nature. We do have an innate power that we can activate. That is a God-like power because we're made in His image. He blew His breath into us. Therefore, His DNA run through your veins. So you can activate. My son is not me. My daughter is not me, but my DNA, my genes is in her. So she has a part of me, my nature, my quality. There's sometimes you look at your kid and you see their behavior, you go, wow, I remember I used to do the same thing. It's that way. Okay. Very simple illustration of what that means. Ye are gods. You're my son, my children. You have my DNA running through your veins. You have my genes, my genotype, my phenotype activated. So when you start thanking God, right, that your stocks are down, that every stock I invest in goes down. You know what I'm saying? Every bond that I put money in, the company goes out of business or redeems them early and I don't get the interest, whatever the case may be. You got to start thanking God when they repoed your car. Your car just got repossessed. You gotta start thanking God. Because folks, when you can thank God and for your tribulations, for your trials, for your hurts, for your pains, for your losses, when you can start thanking God like that, folks, you are now operating on a fourth, fifth, sixth dimension. You're no longer existing in three-dimensional existence. You're now a multi-dimensional human being. You're not even your divine nature has been germinated, has been developed, has been maximized. You are now beyond mere mortal man. I mean, still mortal, but you're beyond mere mortality, a mere mortal human being. And you become the rock on which others can lean. You become the strength that the family needs, that the friend might need, that the person who's contemplating suicide might need. So you you become your divine nature. You become more divine. Rather than just being plain human, you become more divine. And here's the interesting thing. When you start thanking God for your losses, like Job, in the end, Job was rewarded everything twofold. Right? He got everything back. So when you start moving like that, same God is going to be so well pleased and proud of your faith in him and not doing what 98% of the people would do, which is cry, complain, and curse and give up and start dying while they're alive. They start spiritually dying while they're biologically alive. So, so the secret, folks, again, is to thank God for your problems. Thank God for your difficulties. Thank God for your challenges. I don't care what they are. I know some people that say, well, yeah, but I can't be thanking God. I just found out, da, da, da. It doesn't matter. Thank God for everything you go through. Even if you're still in it, thank God for it. Because in the end, Romans 8:28, one of my favorite verses, in the end, it all works together for your good and for my good in the end. But while it's going on and it hasn't ended, keep thanking God for it. Because there's a reason, there's a purpose that it was brought into your path, or you were brought into its path. The experience was necessary for a development, for a advancement, for an evolution to take place, some evolutionary spiritual evolution to take place within your life. Thank God for all your problems. Till next time, peace. If y'all like this video, you know what to do.